you have to be careful. The good spinner that does everything right, he's got to be right. His body's right, his feathers right. He's got to be right, right? Because he can do it, and that's the proof. But uh, a lot of birds, their feathers are a little bit too brittle, and they're a little bit too stiff. And maybe it's because of feeding them too much wheat and barley and that sort of thing that dries them out, but maybe not. You want a bird that's got good oily feathers. When I pull that wing apart, I can tell you which birds are rolling in the kit. I can pick out every spinner you got without seeing them in the air because I can look and I can see the twisted feathers. And if they start breaking off in here, that's a sure sign that your birds are too brittle, feathers too dry. You need to get some oil seeds in those birds because their feather won't take it. Now, there's birds that are more wet. I call them wet because when you hold them, they feel almost like sticky or something. I can't explain it, but they feel oily and you can feel it. And when you pull that wing out and you look at the feathers going down, if you look at the feather before where it's rubbing on this one, you can see that oil line on there.
Okay.
That's the kind of bird you want to cultivate that's got that oil rub on them primary feathers, because those birds, they can roll and they can spin and their feathers are flexible and they'll twist and they'll turn without snapping off. And they can handle it, and they need to put on the brakes. They can put on the brakes.
Yeah. So where they overlap, the one in the bottom is the one that's gonna show.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And what about I know when it comes to like racing pigeons, they go beyond the just looking at the performance, and they go more into the scientific side of the breeding program. I've heard of and I've had videos too of Pensum grabbing a bird, looking in the throat, and is there anything else that would tell you what a bird is, like, let's say it has a good circulatory system, respiratory system, a strong bird? Is there anything that we could tell what will be a good breeder versus one that's not?
Yeah. There's quite a few things. I mean, I'm not a big eye sign guy because I've been looking at those pigeon eyes all of my life, and I can tell you they come in all different colors, and all of them can perform, and all of them can be cults. So it'd be hard to convince me about the eyes, but there are a few things about the eyes that I do look at, and they do work. One of the things you want to look at is for health. Just like a doctor looks at a person's eyes, he shines that light in there. He wants to see if you've got good contraction to the pupil. Well, a bird that does that has what we call a good flex, and that bird can see good. Well, being able to see good is going to help a pigeon when he's flying and rolling and being in the kit and coming down and landing and where the box is at and those sorts of things. So you want a bird with flex. You don't have to have it. I've had some champions that didn't have any flex at all. And their eye just stayed the same when you held it in the sun or got it in the shade. But the best ones, real good birds, have that. Something else I noticed to the champions. Now, you can't go get a baby out of the nest and hold it up to the sun and see its eyes shake. It's not going to do it. It's not in condition. But if I go in your kit and you've got birds that are performing at the top and peak of performance, I can go in there. I can pull those birds out and I can go through them and I can look at their eyes. And I can tell you the ones that are in there and they vibrate and shake. Those birds are in top condition. Now, it doesn't tell me that bird can roll straight and perfect. Nothing's going to tell you that except watching. What it does tell me, though, is that's a strong pigeon. He's in tip-top health, tip-top condition. Birds' eyes that vibrate like that, if they don't do that, they're not in tip-top condition. Something else that you can look at is colors. I don't always cross the colors because they've been crossed up so much over the years that we've probably lost a lot of what the eye color was associated with originally. For instance, Tom Munson and I were talking about this one time when he was here visiting. And it's my firm belief that these birds were they were made by using tipplers and cumlets and oriental roller. Well, if you go back and you look at those breeds, you'll see that there's breeds that they have really white pearl eyes.
Right. Yeah.
These birds, tipplers and cumlets, I mean, these birds are birds that fly extremely high, and they fly for long amounts of time. And you'll notice in the rollers that if you're not careful, especially get in the old pensums, they love to fly. And they will fly all night long if you get them in the right condition. They absolutely will fly all night. Seen it. People sometimes say, "Oh, come on, Ken."
Yeah.
Didn't happen that many times, but I absolutely did see it. They went out of sight all day, didn't come down, went out the next morning, still dusk, gray, sun's not up yet. And I start seeing dots coming down one at a time. They're all busted up.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the yellow-eyed pigeon, the orange-eyed pigeon is a more grounded lower flyer because that's its orientation from the beginning. And the white-eyed pigeon is a more of a flyer,
Okay.
a high flyer, a long flyer. And so I like to cross those to try to bring that down. You want that good flying spirit of the pearl-eyed bird, but you don't want it so strong in there that they're disappearing.
Yeah.
So I look at those things. And then you brought up the throat.
Yeah.
I want that throat pink and clean, and I don't want to see all them little white nodules in the back on those curtains when I open it up in the sun and I've got my good glasses on. I want to see a good, clean, straight, thin curtain in the back. I want to see that slit in the top of the mouth with those zippers.
Yeah, close.
It doesn't have to be closed tight. I don't like it when it's closed too tight, but it needs to be, zipped.
Yeah, I got you.
If it's slightly
open, yeah.
You don't want it wide, but if
it's
slightly, or you can see a little line in there, that's good. If it's closed down tight, that's not good either. I like it just a little.
Yeah, and that will be for the respiratory, right?
Yeah, well, that's just a piece of it. That's not the big piece. The big piece is the hole in the back of that tongue. They got a hole in the back of their tongue. They're breathing.
Yes.
When you open their mouth, look down in there at that hole in the tongue. And that hole in the tongue, when you're holding them and they're relaxed, and it's not a mama about to have an egg because they're going to be breathing hard.
Right.
A bird that's in condition, out of your kit, and he's relaxed, he's not scared to death. You open his mouth up and hold it back there and look in the sun. That hole in the back of that tongue are to be laying down in there flat, hard to see down in there.
Yeah.
Just laying down in there.
Yeah.
And it ought to be elongated, thin.
Yeah.
Be barely moving.
Okay. Instead of like wide open,
it should be flat.
Yeah.
Like this.
Okay.
That's a tip-top pigeon right there. That is a number 1 A-grade pigeon.
Yeah.
Now, that thing's got a big round hole
Yeah.
like that, and it's going,
yeah.
And the tail's moving like that.
Yeah.
That's a pigeon with a bad respiratory. He's sick. He's not good.
Yeah.
He's not ready to, you can't blame him for not performing because he can't. He's not capable of it.
Right.
Those pigeons have got air sacs in them.
Now, is that
air sacs? They probably got 12 in there, and those things.
So would that be also genetically transferred to the young too? If you breed, let's say, because what I'm saying is, a lot of people would tell you breed best to best and keep it simple, but you could destroy the role by breeding out a pigeon that's not capable of how you say it, being able to perform it because of the health issues. You know what I'm saying? But so that's what I was saying. Do you feel that that's genetically inclined to the young?
I do, and I'm going to tell you why. Some people say, "Oh, no, Ken. They got a cold, or maybe there's too much dust in the loft that they're breathing."
Yeah.
That's what caused them to have a respiratory sickness. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
They need fresh air.
Right.
And there shouldn't be too many of them in a pen with a lot of dust. But let me say this, there are pigeons that are more prone to respiratory system failure, just like they're human beings that are more prone to having allergies.
Right.
And if you breed those, you're breeding it into your line. And if you breed the birds that are less prone to having respiratory issues, it'll get better and better.